Good morning, welcome, and please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. The Huerfano County Board of County Commissioners meeting is now in session for February 13th. And we do have all three commissioners present. First thing that we need to deal with is the agenda approval.
Commissioners, I have no change to the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second that.
Have a motion and a second discussion. Vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Adriana,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consent agenda.
Commissioners, on the agenda for today, I have the meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2024. I have abatement number 24-01 for, 1 second, pull it back up. For Joseph Paul and Denise Jewel Rader, parcel number 2046417. An abatement that it says have an abatement amount of $5,960. The assessor recommended approval. I have a green sheet for Amanda Martin. I have a pink sheet for Chantal Ramirez, green sheet for Dia Weller, green sheet for Dustin Beasley, green sheet for Dylan Brunmeyer, pink sheet for Elaine Perino, a pink sheet for Candy Wiseman, a green sheet for Kevin Archuleta, green sheet for Krista Cordova, green sheet for Lindsay Ramirez, a pink sheet for Mary Vijo, and a pink sheet for Shanine Sanders.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second that.
Have a motion and a second discussion. I would just like to note that the three new hires for DHS are replacements for people that have left. This is in line with their realignment, so this is no new positions in DHS. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Adriana,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Public comment? Thank you, sir. Nick Ferris.
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record, Nick.
Nick Ferris. And the address, is that what you said, John? My physical address is 22538 US Highway 160. And my mailing is box 1224, Walsenburg, Colorado, 81089.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, public speaking, not my strong point. I have a letter here that was written by Charlie Montoya and myself, and this is regarding the waste transfer station. Board members, Charlie Montoya and Nick Ferris believe that the bid process Huerfano County put out is not in compliance and is unfair to the taxpayers. Two glaring concerns are, number one, the process was not competitive as only one party is being considered. We were not allowed enough time to respond. Number two, why should only the person leasing it be allowed to buy it? We are requesting a 60-day extension. We can meet all the requirements. Respectfully, Charles Montoya, Nick Ferris. There are other concerns Charlie brought to my attention this morning that he wanted to point out, but he was unable to attend due to illness. I have a copy of this for you all to read or have. And also, here's what I had to say. Good morning. I'd like to commend and thank you all three for serving us. A tough, thankless, underpaid job, and I appreciate you. We've come with no malice and in peace. John, you have more knowledge than anyone probably, and almost single-handedly kept Shea Organics here, which was great, plus all you've done over the decades. Erica, your accomplishments are incredible, and Carl, you're just plain amazing and a great example of courage and teamwork. The Thorn Ranch project, of which you all know, you're all well aware of what you've done there. And the illegal dumping, beautifying of our county, and the waste transfer station are very related and doable projects. We have people capable of moving all this forward. The things they most want to see is synergy, teamwork, and positive cooperative attitudes. Our intent is to serve the community. It's not about us. If you review the videos of our conversations here and the newspaper articles, you will see that our intent from the first meeting in August of 2022 has been to engage the county to discuss solutions. This is a text I received after my last visit here on January the 23rd. Nick, thank you for your comments today at the commissioners meeting. Proper administrative oversight of the WTS should be a priority. 7-day operation is at the top of the list, in my opinion, and passes for poor low income is a great idea. Electra did our illustrations for free. Thank you for your time and considerations. Sincerely, Nick Ferris. I assume you all received the letter I gave Carl and Robert on Friday. Anyway, I don't expect any feedback because I can't hear. And I think you were probably going to try to make a decision today on the transfer station. And my feeling is I hope that doesn't happen. And maybe you're in a position where you have to do it at this point, but I would like to engage with you guys personally at some point and see if we can start to resolve some of these issues. Most of the trash that's being dumped in this county is being dumped on fresh property. We talked about that back in August of 22. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave copies of this. I'll get you a copy of this letter I wrote. And once again, thank you sincerely for your time.
I do have comments.
Thank you, Nick.
I do have a couple comments, Nick. I just want to say it was a competitive process.
Excuse me?
I just want to say it was a competitive process, and we did reach out to people we thought that could be a good solution. And we did receive your bid and another bid. So to say it wasn't a competitive process, I don't agree with that. And if Charlie has questions, I'm happy to talk to him about it. And there's been plenty of time to get those proposals in, and you submitted one successfully, so.
That's one way to look at it, Erica. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Any other public comments? We don't have anybody signed up, anybody online? That's all of us. Okay.
You have something to say, John? I can't really hear.
No, I'm going through the meeting, Nick. Next is appointments, recognizing.
All right. Well, thank you once again.
Recognizing, I can't read this, is it Elaine Perino.
She cannot hear it. Can I have the same problem? You didn't need to hear
Does
that.
it come with, you don't give me either, so we're on the same page.
So we do want to recognize you, Elaine.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't expect this.
So thanks for bringing us back so that we could give it to you again. But
Oh, I didn't see that.
No,
You didn't?
I've had it.
No, I haven't.
Kim had it. I had it.
so we try to read it to you.
Okay.
22 years, Elaine Perino, Chief Recording Clerk. Thank you for your hard work and dedication throughout the years from the Huerfano County Commissioners and staff. On to the next chapter.
Well, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it was a pleasure working here. I loved it. Thank you.
Want to take a picture?
Yeah, I guess. John.
Thank you, Elaine. I wish I was there in person to give you a hug.
Carl says he wish he could give you a hug.
Oh, I'll go over there and give you a hug. Please.
We're still looking for somebody with a knife to replace you.
I'm donating my knife. Anybody that thinks they're qualified, I will hand it over.
Congratulations. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's your
Well,
report.
look for it.
On the bottom. Yeah. Santa Carla.
Don't be a stranger, Em.
Oh, no, I won't.
She got her this morning, and I asked her to clock in, but she wasn't.
County Treasurer semi-annual report.
I actually was expecting a new family member, recently, so I'm not sure that she's here.
And it's in our package, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
5D.
Do you need a motion?
We do. We need to formally accept the semi-annual, the annual reports.
Would make a motion to formally accept the semi-annual report for the Huerfano County Treasurer from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Second that.
One motion and a second to accept the semi-annual report for the treasurer, one at a time. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jetta,
Yes,
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes.
make a motion to approve the annual report for Huerfano County Treasurer, January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Second that.
Do you want to total?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jetta,
Yes,
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Victory Worship Church.
Let's see if they might be outside.
Victory Worship Church.
I think you might work with them a few years ago. Like I said,
This is new. I think.
there is one phone number on here. I don't know if they want. It's a 720 phone number.
I think Robert has it.
Please come to the microphone or?
Take care.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a document that's presentation.
Just want to come on?
You can feel free to sit at the table, we have chairs, and then there's a podium too, there's a microphone here as well. So. For whoever just facilitates for you.
We're just waiting for them to pass.
Sure.
Start with them, Chip.
Good morning.
So we're waiting for one more pastor. If you're ready, I'll get started.
What I would ask you to do is state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Angel Barrientos. I live in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. Will you be speaking, sir?
Yes, I am here as a spokesperson for Victory Worship and Nikki Cruz Ministries. We have two of the senior pastors from that denomination here today, and I am affiliated with them. I'm here to talk about. I'm here to speak on their behalf about a project that they want to put on the table with you guys.
And the PowerPoint is on behind you.
Okay.
You can spin it if you need to.
And we're here today.
You could talk to the mic.
Pastors were here. Both pastors were here last year, I think, and they were here about the property, about a hotel that was abandoned and ill repair. And someone had suggested that they look at a prison facility that was vacant. And they went, and they hadn't really reached out to the commissioners again since then, but there's been a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, a lot of meetings since then about the prospect of actually coming and proposing to employ that as a faith-based for a faith-based purpose and bringing people in. But today we wanted to come because you had three properties. There was they originally come for a motel that was in disrepair and they couldn't find the owner. We understand that you now have control of that property, that it is still in disrepair. And then there were a couple of others. I think you've got the Latham Youth Center, and then there's still the prison that you had talked about the first time last year. And we've looked at it. We've looked up and down and looked at what they were wanting to do. We're here today primarily about the hotel. We have an idea that we want to pursue. We put a lot of people together. We've sat down with a lot of people in Denver and throughout Colorado, through my network, other networks. I'm an outreach minister. I also work in community affairs around Denver, and then we have contacts throughout the state. And that facility, the motel, we want to propose a partnership with Huerfano County, with the commissioners, to see if that property would be available and under what arrangement it might be made available, whether it's a donation or whatever it is that may be proposed, to refurbish it and to set it up to be able to receive and be a youth, to establish a youth program, a diversion program. The goal would be for kids 16 to 18 co-ed. We have structure being built. We have ideas now being developed, reaching out to people. And we think it would be a great place to be able to start. They have another vision that's associated with that, and both pastors will talk about that. but they are interested in the prison as well. But the hotel is more attractive because it can be used in a long-term plan to be able to establish a base of operations and get youth going and establish that program. One of the reasons is that we're emphasizing that is because, as you know, like the whole country, but in Colorado, our stats and the experiences we're having with kids and drugs, fentanyl, they're dying. They're dying or they're losing. And those kids from actually 14 to 20, that's where it's being hardest impacted, and they're dying. They don't know what they're doing. And so they get to a point where they because of the drugs, and they will begin to advance. First time offenders become second time offenders over time, third time offenders, and before you know it, they're in their late teens, and they're looking at situations where the next step that they take, and there's a lot of people, I know people like that who are now men who already been through that. They do something that costs them 20 years. And later at the age of 38, 40, to early 40s, they've already done 20 years. And now they're coming out, they lost that 20 years. They become productive people, or they go back. But we believe that with a faith-based approach and with a lot of work, a lot of good networking, we can catch them early. And we look at a program that includes prevention, where we catch them early, and then intervention, where they may be a little bit more advanced in terms of the number of infractions that they see, and then diversion, actually going in and having a place to take them away from Denver or in this area, and beginning to do not only faith-based counseling and direction, but also job training. We looked at several things. We looked at the old Job Corps model, and we reached out to some people and talked about that. There's a lot of interest, especially out of Denver, to be able to bring people together to make this successful. So, we wanted to come and see what it would take to be able to get that hotel and begin a dialogue towards exploring the possibility of partnering with you to make this happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and now one thing I do want to mention, we talked about that in the car on the way over. When we say faith-based, we're talking about though it's Christian, we are Christian initiated. Of course, in order for it to work and to be eligible for other considerations that may come into play as they work through the multi-phase plan for the vision for the properties that they may come back to you about, especially the prison. I said Pastor Al will talk about that. It's faith in terms of being inclusive. It won't be exclusively Christian. There's a way and a belief that all faiths can come together to be able to use that for the good of the kids. So that being said, we know that we didn't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go ahead and ask the Pastor Al here. Is he not coming? It's not here yet. Okay, all right. And he I can't speak for him, but he was going to speak to you a little bit about an idea that he had for the prison itself, and looking to see, since it's already been discussed, probably what the possibility is, if it's still available, if it's still something on your mind, and how that happens. Okay. But let me go ahead. We're going to reverse it. I'm going to bring up Pastor John here to talk. Pastor John is the senior pastor of the Victory Worship in Denver. And can you speak right there? Go ahead, Pastor.
Hello,
Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
my name is Pastor John Sandoval from Denver, Colorado. I'm a senior pastor of Victory Worship, Greater Denver. We've been working the community there for 30 years or so in the rehab field and a community church, and working with adults majorly. And we began to recognize that maybe it'd be wiser for us to have our intervention start a little earlier in the lives of some of the inner city community because of the path that they take. They start as juveniles and then they eventually end up as an adult incarcerated in our system. And myself, I went through a program in '88. I graduated the program and decided that that's what I would dedicate my life to, helping other people avoid the pitfalls of the journey I took in my youth. And so we've been there for a number of years. My roots are here, Trinidad. I was just thinking about this coming in as I was looking at some of the pictures in the foyer. Was that my grandfather died in the mines in this region, coal mines. Never got to meet him, but I think that God has a plan, and He brought me back to this area of the country at this age of senior stage, but He's emphasizing the importance of the youth. And it was just recently during the COVID, I found myself, when I thought I was on my deathbed, I thought I was out of here and glad to be leaving. And then God told me, the youth, the kids, He said. And I thought, well, if I have to be here, then I need to change my focus to the kids. And so I'm ready to do this project here. We were looking at the building for a number of years, passing through town, headed into New Mexico. And when I noticed that there was nothing taking place there at that facility, we approached you, which was about a year ago. And then a lot has happened since then. But here we are, we're back. We found out that there was a possibility of attaining it because you now had sole possession of it. And so we wanted to just present this idea to you with consideration of possibly working together to get this off the ground here. And so I really appreciate you taking time to speak with us and consider what we're proposing. We didn't bring a lot of detail because we didn't want to keep you too long. We understand you're very busy and we appreciate that. We were, one of the purposes that we were hoping to walk away from this meeting would be to have a contact person, and I was hoping that would be you, Carl. You, Carl? I never got to speak to you on the phone. The women can do most of the talking. Yeah. But we were thinking if we had someone that could guide us and give us instruction and what was required, and what kind of information or what you would need as a Board of Commissioners to allow us to come into your city and to operate a program here. And that's pretty much, I'll keep it simple to that point. And we were interrupted on the way coming in with an important personal meeting with Pastor Albert. He's still down there. Okay. So basically he was going to touch on these issues that we're touching on. The necessity for the facility as a starting point, that we would have a presence here in the community and that we could have a home base to operate out of, and then we could work in partnership with the projection of working with the Lathrop facility and then also the prison facility, and whatever that would, them steps, you could communicate with Carl, help us along the way to obtain that position in your community.
And in his absence, I'm going to just take a minute because I don't think he's going to make them. We don't want to take up that much of your time. There was in our discussion here, throughout the correction system in Colorado, there are units and pods of different types of faith-based activity that caters to people of faith and offer opportunities for them that helps their rehabilitation process or helps to turn them around. And they've been very successful. And that speaks to Pastor John and Pastor Albert. Cumulatively, they've been part of the Victory Outreach denomination for many years. Most of their ministry careers, cumulatively, their composite experience, their composite number of years is probably about 75 years. And they have been running recovery homes for many years and having, and that coupled with the family counseling and it's an outreach ministry is a lot different. It requires a lot more. And we welcome people who are having issues with the law, whether it's drugs, it's crime, whatever it is. Those doors are open. And they have, cumulatively, like I said, 75 years of experience of dealing with those things. And a lot too is connected to their ability to be able to make things happen on a fairly quick basis and help turn some of these kids around now. The other thing that Pastor Al, who's not here, mentioned is that in the system in Colorado, don't know too much about other faiths, but Christians in the correction system in Colorado are really underserved. We found that, and he was going to talk about that. But it's just good to note that. So this would also help that if we're able to advance from the motel stays, if that's even on the table, you should also note that the strategy there and why we're bringing the motel up first, and that would be the first consideration, is because over time to unfold the larger vision, they need a base of operations, and people would have to be brought in. There would be people processed from the surrounding area because obviously we're going to be creating jobs. So that would be why there. But why would that would be why the motel would be the first consideration that would be, has to be considered. And then Pastor Al, again, he was going to talk about the prison, but the prison is, I believe, is a 750 bed facility that has a lot of possibilities to really work with some people and turn some lives around. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners?
I have a few questions if I may.
Sure.
Is this the first time you've launched this project, or have you done it before in Denver? Would this be a new adventure for you, or?
We've worked with in the rehab area and in the church, so we're always in communication with the youth, the families, and what we're noticing is most of the programs that are offered to the youth are counseling, like a half an hour session, and it's not very effective on their lifestyle. And then because in the rehab programs, we take people in 24-hour live-in program, they'd commit to a year, and then we would introduce them to a new lifestyle. And very high success rate. We've been able to expand all over the world. I think they consider our program the largest rehab program in the world. And the majority of our ministers and staff have come through the program. So it's been very successful. But then to focus on the youth, that's what we were considering with the Latham facility, and also the motel would help us bring the staff in, the ministers that would be working with the youth, and then also introduce us to the court system as a live-in facility, or a tool they would have to utilize here, where the youth would be living in program, and then we could contact them with the colleges around the area and other type of programming that you may have already established in the community, where we can network with other maybe people that train them, mentor them in careers for their futures. And we know we only have a small time with them because time flies by. But we're looking at that opportunity to bring them from the city here to live, and then the staff would be on board here. This would give us a foothold in the city, in the community, while they're looking for other housing opportunities. And then we're trying to project into the future of the larger youth facility and the prison system, because then all that staff is going to have somewhere to start if they're not from the community already and already situated, and they'll need somewhere to start and gain ground, you know, and getting their home established and stay, become part of this community. And we're looking at, you know, because we've gone by here for so many years and we've seen, I'll tell you the truth, I've drove I-25. I'm 74 years old, and I've drove through this I-25 all my life, and I never seen the prison. I wasn't even aware of its existence until we were directed by your commission to go look at it.
Okay, so moving along, more questions, Commissioner? Sorry to cut
Do
you
you have funding in place already, or would you be looking for funding or grants, or what is your plan to rehab the building and get it operational?
We were wondering if you had the funding.
No,
If you did,
we don't.
then we would consider that. But then the other thing was we were looking at through donors giving us seed money from the business community and Christian and community there in Denver. One of our representatives has worked with the Toys for Tots with the Marines in the Denver community for about 25 years. So she has a lot of contacts with all the people that have been part of that program, the business community there in Denver. We're considering approaching them for seed money to get the facility insurable and functional. And that would be our next step, that we'd be working with the city zoning and building in regards to that process.
Go ahead. What's up? Commissioner Sport Leader, do you have questions?
So I love the idea of getting kids when they're younger because that is such a huge problem in the nation, frankly. So I like the concept. One of my ideas or thoughts was about the funding. What were the track record and, you know, where that would come from?
Okay. So if I may, so I'm on the state board for medical assisted treatment for opioid. I'm on the Southeast Colorado board for opioid disbursement of the opioid money. Huerfano County was the first county in the state of Colorado to file a lawsuit against large pharma because of the opioid crisis. And I personally know that the problem is a piecemeal approach. This is my take. Because we have so many different funding pots and so many different approaches to treatment, the only way to do this, in my opinion, is the continuity of care from the time that you know there's any kind of an addiction, and so they're completely rehabilitated. So I talked with the state board about this recently and said that why don't they? There's empty prisons around the state. They've used this model to take care of homelessness through the Fort Lyon facility, which was a VA nursing home in Los Alamos, Colorado. And so the legislature put together the funding, and they are rehabilitating homeless people in Fort Lyon and taking them off the street. The same thing I think should happen with addicts. However, We don't own the prison. The prison is privately owned.
Mhm.
Okay. In my opinion, and I'm only one commissioner, but in my opinion, we accepted the donation of the motel because it was a mess. That's where the druggies went and shot up and did whatever they were doing and trashed the place. So we cleaned it up and boarded it. We don't have the money. To take on another program. We have laid off people. We're looking at a second round of layoffs coming in July. Huerfano County doesn't have the money. So we will sell the facility. This is my opinion. We'll sell the facility, but we need to see that whoever we sell this facility to has the resources to do something with it and not just leave it as another boarded up facility. So my personal opinion, and the other commissioners can weigh in on this, come back to us with a proposal with a cash offer to purchase the facility and a plan with the resources to make it operational. That would be my recommendation to you. As far as Lathrop Youth Camp, that belongs to the city. We have no control over that, just as we have no control over the prison.
City of Walsenburg.
Yeah. So I know that was a long-winded response, and I apologize, but that's where I'm at.
It's good information for us because it gives us a visual of what we're facing. And that's why we were talking about if we have an individual that we can communicate more, instead of waiting for meeting to meeting, we could, on a daily basis, we could communicate and see what would satisfy the commission, and then also give a progress report to individuals that he could relay that to use. And I think that's a good start.
Okay.
As long as the facility's on the table, it gives us something to discuss with the business community there in Denver for the funding.
And this is my thought. I would like to see us list that building for 800,000 because it's got 24 acres, 30 acres, 23, 24 acres, 3 houses, plus the motel. So it's a substantial piece of land that could be developed. So that was my thought is we put it on the open market at 800,000.
Okay. And we'd be okay with communicating everything to
You're absolutely
Carl?
welcome to talk to Carl.
Okay. And then that's where we'll go. We'll go with that. We'll take that back and we'll begin discussing it with some funders. And then we'll report Carl our progress. And then hopefully we could get it done real quick.
So I have one question for you. Sorry, what's your name again? I saw your picture.
John Belushi.
Okay. Is there a scenario that you can foresee where when this begins to gel, should it come to fruition and begin to gel that it was clear that there was a positive way to go? Is there a scenario where Huerfano County would actually partner with Victory Worship to make this work in terms of budgeting, in terms of possibly helping with funding or anything like that? Do you see a scenario like that?
Out of county funding, out of local funding, I don't see that. We have a great grant writer. If there were grant programs that the county would be eligible for that you would not be, we would be, I think, willing to consider partnerships on something like that. But as far as investing local money into that, we've got so many things that we need to take care of for the basics that I don't see that in the foreseeable future personally.
Well, one last thing.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Al Loma.
Address?
My home address, 430 Redwood Drive, Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay, thank you.
When we were here initially, this is our second time. I think it was you, sir, you mentioned that you had an empty prison. And in fact, that our ultimate goal is to get to that prison. And, so I know you don't own it, it's a privately held, but it's been empty for how, for 20 years probably? How long has it been empty?
2013, 10 years,
13?
2013.
2013, so 10 years. And our ultimate goal is to try to get there. We're trying to create a footprint with this project to ultimately get to that point. I just want to refresh your memory because you had mentioned, because I never, when you said we have an empty prison, I go, how do you get an empty prison? That doesn't happen overnight. And so that is our long-term goal. We need a footprint. The economic impact that we could bring to Wassenberg, well, you can measure it yourself. It'd be a benefit to us, to those we serve, but also to this community. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We know we're looking for a win-win-win situation here. We're motivated and compelled by our desire to help people, but everybody has their own motivations, and we're trying to see, and we're trying to tap everybody's motivation so that everybody's happy. And so that I just wanted to refresh your memory on that and why we drove out here and to meet you so that you know who we are. We're not strangers. Maybe one day we go out coffee and have a donut or whatever. And that, I think that's just as important when we do this process, to get to know each other, build a relationship, and then the other things hopefully can happen. So I just want to, again, refresh your memory. That's why I came. I've had a concept of taking a prison, making a faith-based facility, but not just, we'll probably start with Christians, but of all the sons of Abraham, we have Muslim, Christians, and Jews. And so the possibilities are endless. And it'll be unique. It'll be a voluntary type of thing. Each individual will have to volunteer to come to this facility. But it's something that the state doesn't provide, and I don't think any state in the country provides this. So it would be a completely different form of recovery and reentry into the society, and that's our vision for this community. And I think it's a good vision, and I think we can make noise. If that's a good word to say. It would really be an impact.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you all so much.
All right.
Thanks for coming. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sir, excuse me, sir, the jump car.
Okay, moving on, land use, Mr. Young,
Nothing for my use.
action items.
That's not. Commissioner, first I have here a resolution numbered 24-14, a resolution appointing Leonard Raver to the Huerfano County Planning Commission for a term expiring on December 31st, 2025.
I would make a motion to approve resolution number 24-14, a resolution appointing Lena Raver to the Huerfano County Planning Commission for a term expiring on December 31st, 2025.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second discussion. I'm glad to see younger people showing some interest. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrade,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a letter of support for a grant for broadband in the Gardner area. I believe that Jade is the actual applicant, and the letter was provided by Economic Development by Lois Bradley for your review and consideration.
Make a motion to accept the grant, Carl Broadband Office grant proposal.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Technically, that is a
Letter of
letter of
support.
support for the broadband grant.
Correct.
Okay. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Andretta,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you an agreement between Huerfano County and the city of Montrose. The city of Montrose has been coordinating with Huerfano County's emergency management and IT departments to work towards sharing data to better improve law enforcement efforts. Basically, through our Spillman system, the Insight system, you can share data with other communities, share information. So this agreement would allow us to do that. So by entering with the city of Montrose, we get access to not just their information, but other information from around the network.
Make a motion to approve the agreement with the city of Montrose to share data through the Insight system by Motorola Solutions, Inc.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. What's this cost us?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Even better.
Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Andretta,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you the designation of representative to the county health pool. We pre-filled it with the information that was submitted last year, but if you'd like to change it, happy to have you change it too.
I would ask Kimberly Trujillo if she would be willing to serve as our representative to the county health pool.
Isn't she on?
Sure.
You agree with that?
Yes, but she and Angela are both named, so you're asking to have yourself removed?
Myself removed and then ask Anne Sweet to serve as the second respondent.
Do you want to designate an alternative representative? Perhaps one of you? As an alternate?
Well, so you're wanting Kim, Ann, and Angela, or just Kim and Ann?
So Kim as, what I understand what John's saying is Kim as replacing him and replacing Kim. What I'm asking is there's also a space for a designated alternative. If you want to fill that position, we historically haven't, I think. I don't remember us ever having that filled out, but
I think Commissioner Spoiler likes the health pool stuff.
I heard he loves it.
I heard that too.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've said before. I'd be happy to do my time.
Thank you, Carl.
Make a motion to appoint Kim Trujillo as the designee of the representative to the county health pool, with the alternatives as Ann Sweet and Carl Spoiler. Did I say that correctly?
The alternate would be Commissioner Spoiler, and then the designated correspondents would be Angela and
Ann.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
I think I shut up.
Commissioner Spillier is back on.
Yes.
Commissioner Andretta,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. Commissioners, next I have for you purchase order number 207. This is for cutting edges for our graders, the amount of $19,264. This is It's bringing us in under budget for this line item for the year. And we do get a discount because we split the load with another county. So we get a discount on the shipping cost and a discount because we're between our order and their order, it's a full semi-load.
Was this priced against John Deere?
Yes, it was. I don't have that price off the top of my head though, but I do remember Dustin telling me that he priced it against John Deere. This came in cheaper.
I make a motion to accept the purchase order of 207 Wagner Equipment Company for the purchase of the parts for graders.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jetta,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a purchase order number 210, amount of $35,000, as well as an invoice in amount of $5,000. So a little bit of history here. So we agreed several years ago. I don't think the actual contract ever really got signed, but it was informed that we would give economic development $5,000 every year. The $35,000 was a discussion that we had during budget time about contributing economic development $35,000 for this year as information for a lot of projects that they're working on with us that they would manage. So the question I have for you is if you want to go ahead and allocate the full 35 now, or do you want to wait? Do you want to just pay the 5 now? How do you want to proceed?
Do you know what the 35,000, I know it's for projects, but do you know which projects?
So I think that would be their general operations. It would be their the wheelhouse project. There's things that aren't covered in the grant that they cover, things like rent, utilities, fixing up the space, stuff like that. And then they had asked for funds for a feasibility study for the hotel. I'm not sure if they're going to go forward with that or not, but basically, I would say to be on the safe side, I would say general operations and the non-grant funded portions of the wheelhouse. That's certain, and things might get used other ways past there.
Unless the other two commissioners feel strongly another way, I'd really like to meet with at least a liaison from economic development to discuss their projects and how they're going to move forward and where the funds are going to be applied.
Yeah, I actually received a phone call from Lola on Friday,
Okay.
and she went over a pretty lengthy list of projects that they actually are putting some of those to bed. So yes, I can't tell you what all of them were, but I would strongly encourage you to talk to somebody from economic development.
Absolutely. Okay.
I would be good with moving forward with the 5,000 as budgeted.
Absolutely. Mhm.
In any case,
Earl, do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah. I agree with the 5,000 as well, and do believe that we should get a kind of a list of what's going on and where everything's at.
is that a motion?
Yes, that'll be a motion to accept $5,000 expense with a understanding that we'll get together and go over the other projects.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jetta,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you the audit engagement with Hinkle and Company for the 2023. For the fiscal year ending in December 31st, 2023. The agreement is rather standard. I do want to call out that I don't believe there is a exact pricing here. I'm going back here to make sure I'm not forgetting something.
9,500, it's on page 49. Estimate that our fee audit will be $9,500.
Did we go over that in previous years?
We have.
This is a great price.
I don't think that price is going to hold.
Yeah.
Because
Wasn't it closer to 20?
Yeah, what he told us when he delivered the 2022 audit was that they sort of been giving us a discount over the years over the last couple of years for that, but we should be paying sort of a higher rate based on the number of programs we have in our C fund. So he estimated something like $20,000 to $30,000. Seems about right, but they said didn't update that part of the letter.
It is
So should we do a not to exceed without approval?
a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea.
That would be 30.
Once we give them the CFA, they should be able to give us a firm idea of what the cost is going to be.
Okay.
Because like last year, I think we were pretty close to being on target to that 9,500. But the year before, we definitely went over. But that was the year that we had. The audit was a mess. Just as far as getting the files to them and things like that. My first year working with them. So you want to do a not to exceed, or I can hold this until they give me a better price. One of the two.
Can I maybe throw a suggestion out or a discussion on?
Yeah.
So what if we authorized up to 20,000 out of county general, and any fees above that would require county commissioners, and we would try to put that onto DHS.
Okay.
Because this includes the DHS audit, correct?
Yeah. So the audit actually gets spread out across all of the funds, except for all the general funds. So it gets a little bit in county general, a little bit in DHS, a little bit in Road and Bridge, and there's
The DHS and county general are the
Big
big
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
So shouldn't we be splitting that anyway? But we haven't in the past.
No, we've always put it across.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say across the major funds, something like that.
So would it be appropriate to approve up to 20,000, but say that they need to be appropriated to the different departments, regardless of the cost? So if it's 40% DHS needs to be accounted for 40%. Or is that too hard?
So I don't know how the split works. I know it's split.
I don't know, they have a minus 20 last year.
Okay.
So just leave it, it's appropriated.
Yeah, I think it's actually probably pretty close to 60-40. 40% THS and 60% the rest of the other county funds.
Yeah, because the big cost is the federal programs, and most of the federal programs are at DHS.
I would make a motion to approve the Hinkle and Company 2023 audit engagement for amount not to exceed $20,000 without approval from the Board of County Commissioners, and for that amount to be split equally to the departments in which it represents.
The funds.
The funds.
I'd second that.
I have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Eric? Yes. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Najera,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. So just so you know, I budgeted 10,000 in general fund, 5 in Road and Bridge, and I'm not sure what's in the DHS budget, but we should be able to cover that amount of what's budgeted.
Okay.
All right. Commissioner, next have for you your HUTF signature sheet. I will note that this does include South Lake Road.
Question about this as well, if I may.
Please.
You looked at the map and we're sure we're not missing any roads,
So
or Dustin?
Anthony and Dustin worked on this. So they're probably Jeff when he was still here.
Okay, good.
It really doesn't change much from year to year, except when we add something or take something away, which one thing we've added is South Lake Road. I don't know that map is in a format that I can use to understand. I don't think it's like one of those.
Right.
From what I understand, I think it's like a bunch of, my understanding is like a bunch of segments, not really a real map.
Right. It's a spreadsheet, and really generally the only changes are when you go out and physically measure a road and compare it against the spreadsheet, and it's different.
And you're confident in past years that all the roads that we maintain, we're receiving funding for?
I'd say 99%. I'm not going to say 100%.
I mean, I don't think we need to go back and look at it if it's been done in the past. I just hate to be missing, 15 years worth of funding for a big road that we missed somewhere. Okay. I'm good with it.
Road and bridges, hawkish on every penny.
Good. As they should be.
So did we get a motion there?
I need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the Huerfano County signature sheet for the Colorado Department of Transportation with the mileage on the sheet to be correct.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrea,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have purchase order number 206 for the Judicial Center Security Grant in the amount of $111,937.67. This is funded by the 2024 unfunded courthouse grant with a 50-50 split. And the match we budgeted in the Judicial Center capital outlay. On page 65 of your books, Commissioners, you'll see a budget adjustment request. This is an attempt to be able to do this. We've never done this before in my time here. I'm not sure it was done before, but to say, all right, we have a grant now, we're going to adjust the budget so that it shows in the line item for the grant what it's supposed to be, so we can easily sort of see if it goes over or not. So in this case, we have the 55,969 in new revenue. We'll take the other that exact amount also out of capital outlay, and then put it all in the Judicial Center Security Grant, which line item that we're going to actually charge to the grant to. And if it works, you'll be able to see sort of our progress on the payments and everything like that on the line items, like everything else. You'll be able to see very clearly what it's supposed to be versus what it actually is.
So this isn't how I would do that. On what you have on page 65, I would show the grant funding as a revenue, a transfer in from capital outlay as a revenue, and then the expenses as the total of both of those. So the revenues would equal expenses and not that 55,000 revenue. The total revenues and expenses would be 111,000. That's how I would do to show the total. What? Know what I'm saying?
I guess the only word that tripped me up is transfer, because it's not really it's not an inter-fund transfer. It's taking down the expense in one line item and putting it up in the other. I think I know what you're saying, but well, maybe I'll need to work with you on this one, because I'm trying to. I think I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
And this is the funding out of this is coming through the judicial dedicated funding stream, the 1 cent sales tax.
Mhm.
This is not the county general.
This is purchase order 206 and the last one is 207. No need to.
No,
reverse that order.
they're in the order they were created.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve purchase order 206 for the Judicial Center Security Grant in the amount of $111,937.67. With a note that this is funded by the 2024 underfunded courthouse grant with a 50-50 split, and the county match is budgeted in Judicial Center capital outlay.
I'd second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrea,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next, if you request to submit a grant application to the Federal Aviation Administration for Spanish-speaking airport field, aka 4V1 airfield lighting and science rehabilitation project with funds from the bipartisan infrastructure law. project has a 90% federal match, with another 5% coming from CDOT Aeronautics. The total cost of the project is $498,888, of which the county would be responsible for $24,944.
If this grant were successful, what year would it be budgeted in?
This year.
So these are monies that would be spent this year.
Mhm.
Can it be pushed off? Do we risk losing money?
I don't have a straight answer for you on that. I can ask FAA directly and see what they would say. I sort of asked the engineers and they were like, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Of course they don't want to do that.
Of course they don't want to do that. I mean, this project has sort of drug out, unfortunately, mainly because of the FAA, but yeah, that it would be a this year project. So I can check and see about if we can push it to next year.
So if we receive the grant, we have 3 years to spend the money, correct?
I believe so, but I am not certain.
So we wouldn't have to contract the project immediately. We could give a little buffer in there.
And the match isn't due until you contract it.
Yeah,
We have to commit to the match, but we don't have to spend the match.
and I'm not opposed to postponing this project. There are some things I don't quite know, but I can do some checking on that.
Would you like a motion for approval in the event that we can push it off for a different funding?
Sure. This one ultimately submitting it, it's accepting it, that really commits the match in my head.
And then I just would like to comment that we appreciate all these grants, but I know how hard they are to manage. So if there's someone in finance or Robert or whomever that's taking a liking to grant, management, I think we should start doing some training and cross training on that, because I know it's a lot for you.
Kim and Robert are both right along here with me along for the ride. They're on the roller coaster as well.
Seems like a swirly one.
He's still young. He hasn't had time to experience how it goes. But yeah, this particular project in general, the biggest amount of work we have to do is the RFP.
Okay.
The engineers really handle everything, and we just have to submit the things to FAA to pay us back and CDOT.
So the biggest problem with our airport lighting is that when they plow snow, they knock over lights because of the way that they're designed. When I look at this design, it still looks pretty flimsy to me.
But it should save on electricity, you think?
Because these are LEDs, I believe. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to make them so that they, like if they get hit with the snowplow, they fall down,
Mhm.
but don't,
Not according
broken.
to this design. It's got a frangible coupling, which is a breakaway, which have to buy.
And they have to be at the ground level. They can't be,
They stand up 14 inches.
they can't be taller.
No,
Mm.
no, because the wings are low in the airplane.
They have to have some kind of solution. Can't be the first airport to.
Right.
My understanding is usually the solution is discipline the snowplow driver.
Oh, that's painful.
I would make a motion to approve the application to the FAA Airport Improvement Program for the V4B1 airfield lighting and signage rehabilitation project with a note of encouragement to see if we can push this off to a different funding year rather than 2024.
I would second that.
I like it. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Adriana,
Yes.
Chair McAllister,
Yes.
motion passes.
And again, thank you for all your work on these. I know that federal applications are a pain. So thank you.
All right, Commissioner, next I have for you I have for you a request to approve an award to Mountain Disposal for the Huerfano County Waste Transfer Station. On November 27th, 2023, Huerfano County released RFP 2023-11 seeking interested parties to operate the Huerfano County Waste Transfer Station. After an extension, the RFP closed on Friday, January 19th, 2024 with one submission and a request for a workshop. After evaluating the submission and conducting an interview, I recommend that you formally open negotiations with Mountain Disposal. This is the project that Nick was speaking to earlier. Yes, there was only one applicant, and sort of what our policy says in that case is we have to decide whether or not there was enough time. We usually have these things open for 30 days. This one was open for 54.
I personally reached out to all the other vendors in the surrounding areas.
Mhm.
I don't know what more you can do. I would make a motion to approve the award for waste transfer operation RFP 2023-11 to Mountain Disposal and instruct staff to develop a lease agreement.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. I agree with the approach. I think that we could get drug kicking this can down the road and we're gonna end up with the same place anyway. So,
And I think the workshop went really well. I'm excited for what the future holds.
I agree. And I did get an email from Jim Clipfield that he has, he's working on an agreement and he should have that to you by Friday.
Great.
Okay, call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Oniata,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner, next I have a liquor license renewal for Kachara Spirits LLC.
What's that? The liquor store?
It's the liquor store, dog mart, and the liquor store, they always apply for it, so which is good. He's always on time, he's always pretty ahead of the game. They're paid up, no complaints, no violations, and I have nothing else to add. He's been good.
Good. I would make a motion to approve the retail liquor license renewal application for Kachara Spirits LLC.
Second that. Sorry, my computer's like not working correctly, so that's why I'm slower here. Apologize for that.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Discussion. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Oniata,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Yes.
Motion passes. And that is the end of action items.
Well,
That was
Almost painless, huh?
okay, moving along.
All right, commissioners, correspondence, ready?
Please.
So first I have a technical update for CTSI on the Colorado public meetings and executive sessions. You'll see also attached the link that they included on there, which includes their forms and scripts for executive session. Item 8B is the full quarter monthly volume report. Item 8C is the GPID billing register. Item 9D is the GPID system totals report. 8E is the leave balance report. 8F is a very preliminary expense report. There's a lot of this that's in here that needs to be put back into 2023. And line items have to be checked to make sure that things hit the right line items, but that's preliminary report for January 2024. 8G is a request from the Walsenburg Golf Course for between $5,000 and $15,000 from the Conservation Trust Funds. Okay. 8H is a letter from the Structural Engineers Association of Colorado requesting funding for a wind speed study. If we contribute funding, I think at the amount of between $200 and $1,000, they will share the results of that study with us. Item 8I is a letter from Lois Adams on the Cachar Mountain Park. Item 8J is the letter Nick referenced earlier for the security extension of the waste transportation decision. Item 8K is a letter from the sheriff's office requesting that we adjust the handbook to change their holiday hours from 8 hours per day per holiday to 12 hours per holiday. And that is the end of correspondence.
Can I ask that we bring back item G, H, and K at some point for further discussion, or how do you want to handle that?
I can bring it back at the next meeting, or you want to talk about it now?
Or do you guys want to do anything with those?
We can talk about G and H now, but K, will that be part of this executive session of the workshop?
Certainly can be.
If that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they change their schedule,
So the sheriff's office has always had a point that for them, a day is 12 hours. That's one work day for them.
is it? I don't
I'm
know
not going to answer that part of that part of that question.
And is it for all? I mean, that's not for the secretary in the office staff.
No, right.
It may be for the deputies, but is that really their true shift? I don't know. I've never seen.
And I don't think that if the staffing were different, I don't think that they would have the 12-hour shifts.
Right, if they're, we say yes.
Okay.
So we can talk about that in the workshop. Huh?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
5,000 for the golf course. I would not go above 5,000 for that, but that's up to you guys.
Do you know what we did last year?
5,000. Oh, no,
Yeah, we did
actually,
another
last
10 or
year we
something.
did a bunch to help them with the campground.
Mhm.
We did more like 40, 60.
We none of that came out of the CTF money, but last since I've been here, I think we've given them something every year.
We generally budget 5,000 a year to help them with sprinkler heads and fertilizer.
Make a motion to approve the golf course request for CTF funds in the amount of $5,000.
I would second that.
I have a motion and a second.
One question.
Question.
So CTF funds are interesting.
Or it doesn't have to be CTF funds. It could be wherever you do.
So we have the money. It's unbudgeted right now, but it's sitting in the CTF
Mhm.
pot. And we've got, I think, $30,000 unbudgeted in that pot. We can't grant anyone CTF funds. So we have to sort of either maybe do some sort of reimbursement or a contract somehow. I don't know what's the best way of doing that, but I wanted to,
Can we just pay for the fertilizer?
we can do that too. I think,
It was that 5,000 or just leave it open?
5,000 for fertilizer and sprinkler heads.
So I can amend the motion to say that we will pay for the fertilizer and sprinkler heads as a donation to the golf course.
just for the way that I think they operate and how they do things, it might be, contact them might be easier.
Okay.
They just have to tell us, send us like an invoice. They did the work.
So via a contract.
We can do something on one simple one-page contract.
Yeah, it's no more than $5,000.
Not to exceed.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
Commissioner Jada,
Yes.
Chairman Galusha.
Abstain.
All right. Motion passes. And then 8H, the wind speed study.
Now, I have a question on that or a comment.
Mhm.
Back in the day, there was a Pole Canyon wind farm that was going to go in north of Walsenburg. And in my mind, there should have been a pretty major study going with that one. Is there any kind of anything that these guys can look at with that study to see if there's another need for that kind of new study, if that makes sense?
So the Pole Canyon was cited based on the NREL study. Was it the NREL study, Dale? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, the National Renewable Energy Lab out of Boulder put together a wind map, and that was the wind map. It's still available on the internet, but that was the wind map that Pole Canyon used to cite that. And so that's I think my comments on this is NREL puts out a map for free. I have a hard time, and since I don't know how much more wind development there would be in Huerfano County, put together a kind of a bell-shaped preferable wind development area. I don't know. I would question the benefit of Huerfano County in participating in another study.
Yeah, that's my belief as well.
Wouldn't the investors who are wanting to do such a project invest in their own stuff?
You would think, yes.
I guess my understanding of this is more for building codes than for wind farms, but I'm not certain of that.
Yeah, Structural Engineering Association of Colorado. Could be. We'll just call it 200 miles per hour and be good with it, huh?
Yeah.
It's really windy most of the time.
Okay, so we're had a discussion and there's not any motion coming forward. Is that
Well,
what I hear?
So am I reading this correctly? Even a donation of $200 would give you access to their study?
That's what it appears to say to me.
Is it a study that you need, do you think, for the building permit?
I really don't know. Part of it is I don't think so, because I think we understand our county good enough where we're good, but
Well, building codes, if you follow 2015 or whatever level you bump up to, they're gonna have their own registry.
right, and we adjusted ours this year. Last year we went to 2018.
Well, 200 is within your spending amount, right? So if you decide you need it, you can move forward with that, without a motion.
Yeah, I put things like this before you because I like to not spend on anything that I think is, anything that's a donation or anything like that. I feel like it should come from the board and not from me. For me, I focus mine on operational spending. If it's not required for operations, I don't really do that.
If this is required for operations, I say you do it at 200, but if not, I would waste the money.
Okay. Staff reports.
Commissioners, the 611 main gym, I popped in there on Saturday, talked to Lester some. It looked great in there. He's got some trim work to complete. He had a community service, student working with him to get some things done, but the equipment's mostly in there. It looks really good.
Great.
And do we know when they're gonna open?
I think we're within a couple of weeks. We still gotta get a few things buttoned up. There's some ceiling, there was a leak, let's want to replace those ceiling tiles, already have them, just gonna pop them up there. Finishing the film, so there's a little bit of work to do, but weeks and not months.
Can they request their CO without the trim and items that they need done? Yeah, why not get on the list?
I don't know that there's something that they're waiting on to get done before they get their CO. I think that there might be one thing that has to get done before they.
I would just encourage them to submit for it while they're waiting. They can get their trim done or ceiling done.
Yeah.
That's none that's gonna matter soon.
Mhm.
Exciting.
And we don't have a county attorney on, so county. Okay. So we have executive session.
I have a question on that. So you have a workshop at 11:30 and then these executive sessions are later in the day. So should we?
You would recess the meeting
Okay.
for the workshop, and then we come back in and go into executive session. I don't know if anyone might resolve the Thorn Ranch one in open session for our staff meeting, so I don't want to need that one again.
Okay.
So we'll do that one a little bit, and then we'll be, then we can go into our workshop meeting after that.
Do we need to wait until 2 for the sheriff's office?
Yes, because that's what I told you from over.
Okay.
I'm sort of assuming that the county attorney will take most of the hour.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then we will make a motion for recess and then executive session.
Do we want to put in all the citations for the executive session before we recess? Because when we come out of the recess and executive session, we will not have any action. Is that accurate?
You might need to take action after the sheriff's office one.
And attorney maybe.
I don't think I would take an action after the attorney one.
Okay.
But the sheriff's office will depend on what you decide. You might want to be able to take action after that. Or you can give a staff direction, and you can affirm it at the next meeting.
So we go ahead and do that. We will recess for the workshop. Then after the workshop, we will reconvene and do the motion for the executive session. Is that okay?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. So
Sounds good.
entertain a motion for recess.
Make that motion.
Have a motion, a second discussion. We are in recess. And then we will go into executive session after we reconvene, which will probably be about half an hour.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Those are candidates everywhere.
Questions from Eric? Hey, Eric.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Carl, I just wanted to get,
So that's what I think. So Dale,
Hey, Eric, you're a little soft. Can you speak up for me?
sorry, I wanted to get spelling on Pastor Angel's last name.
She has it.
You have it,
Erica?
Erica?
Your Pastor Angel's last name spelling for.
I do.
That's how you get it.
I did it.
We'll get it for you in just a minute.
Very end.
Just let me see back here. The group and
B-A-R-R.
architects do all that.
BARR
Building, the color, all of that.
IENPOS.
Got the state
Thank,
guy that teaches
Thank you.
free.
and the other
I'm there
person
bringing someone
on the
in the community.
health board, that was Ann Sweet?
And everyone I saw back.
Yes.
Okay,
Grabbing all.
Yeah, and Sweet, and last name Sweet, SWEET.
okay, so Kim Trujillo and Ann Sweet with Carl as the alternate commissioner, correct?
Yep, and Angela and Ann are both the correspondents.
Kim's the rep, Carl's the,
I was the alternate. Ann and Angela are the
You're
correspondents.
supposed to candy with oranges.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it.
Let's discuss
All
section
right, thank you,
7
sir.
now. Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
You want to do for food?
The golf course open?